Welcome to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, where we help you conquer the internet one video at a time. We cover everything from how to start a YouTube channel to how to make a video go viral. And now, here's your host, the one and only Dusty Porter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. This is episode 313. And as always, we have a wonderful YouTube creator to interview today. But before we do that, I'd like to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, TubeBuddy. Without them, this show is not possible. The time commitment that this show takes now to find the right guest, to do the editing, to get everything done the way that I want it done, and I want it done right, TubeBuddy allows me to do this. And TubeBuddy will allow you to operate your YouTube channel way more efficiently than you're doing now. So if you would, use our link in the show notes. You'll get a free month. That's right, a free 30-day trial of using everything TubeBuddy has to offer, and every tool in their toolbox, per se, you can use, and I would really appreciate that. It helps us out, helps you out. It's a win-win situation. And then lastly, don't forget to go over to our patreon.com/DustyPorter, and over there, you can support us, throw us a couple of dollars, or support us at a little higher tier, the advisor or the channel producer tier, and you will actually get a shout out of your link of choice on one episode per month. All right, with that out of the way, we've got something new happening this week. I did it and tried it out on my other podcast, TubeBuddy Express, which is more of a poignant kind of shorter episode type podcast. No interview. I just talk about a topic about YouTube. That link will be in the description as well. But it worked out really well. We're going to have a question of the week. That's right. Question of the week. I'd like to hear your responses, your information from you, the listener. And it's always been a listener-centric show where I bring on guests, I bring in topics that you guys want me to cover, and so this is just another way to do that. So if you want to know how to do that, go over to Twitter, find me over there, Dusty Porter YT, very simple. It'll be in the show notes of this episode as well. And at the end of the episode, after the interview, I will have our question of the week. You like that, didn't you? That's called a tease in the radio business. All right, with all of that fun stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this week's conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. My name is Dusty, the host of the show. As always, I'm joined today by a wonderful guest and content creator, wonderful YouTube creator from the Everyday Chris YouTube channel. I'm joined today by Chris Lee. Basically, Chris has a channel about Tesla and tech. I love that. Two really cool things. His goal is to make everyday life easier. He started his YouTube channel 2 years ago, and since then, he's been able to quit his W-2 job as a physical therapist, transition to full-time YouTuber by diversifying his income streams, even as a small creator, and we'll definitely tackle that. Chris, how are you doing today?
Hello, thank you so much for having me, Dusty. I really appreciate you bringing me on. My wife and I love your podcast. We listen to it all the time. And man, it's really true. You really have a sexy voice. I'm super jealous.
I'm going to record that clip and send that to my wife, see if she agrees with you there. I appreciate the compliment there, Chris. I want to ask you, though. I should be complimenting you because you've got a really good thing going over on the Everyday Chris YouTube channel. It says Tesla, Tech, and Life. You get thousands of views on your videos. You have 15,000 subscribers and growing every single day. You've got a great community over there. You're able to do this full time now. So many things to tackle. But before we get started, let's just talk about the origin story 2 years ago, you starting this channel. Tell me kind of how that all came to be.
Perfect. Yeah, classic Dusty question. So for me personally, just like yourself, I've always had a knack for helping people. I love teaching. And I consider myself pretty tech savvy too. So, I mean, as a physical therapist, I love assisting patients and making them feel better. Mm-hmm. And in the tech aspect, I love helping my friends set up their phone, setting up their router. Just teaching them brought me a lot of joy. And my friends would ask me like the same questions over and over again. So I always told my wife, I was like, do I should make videos of these and post it on YouTube? But, I never got around to it. Life got in the way, and I was too lazy. There's always an excuse not to do something. And that was me. I always try to make that excuse until one day, my wife, she got fed up because I said it again. And she was like, you know what, Chris, you keep saying you're going to make videos, but you never do. Just do it. Mm-hmm. So I took a quote from Nike and I just did it. So I was working full time, and I told myself, I'm going to just push out one video a week for an entire year and see what happens. Like if I don't get any subscribers, it's fine, but I'm going to just stay committed to it and see what happens. And it's been almost 2 years now, and I quit my full-time job, and I'm a full-time content creator, and I'm loving it. So that's kind of like how I got started.
You know, we all need somebody like your wife in our lives, right? Somebody to kind of give us that boost or that push over the edge when we're just kind of, I've been there too, not necessarily on my YouTube channel, but I've had like ideas before. And even if it's like a project around the house and I'm like, man, I really want to do this. I really think this would be cool to do. And my wife will be like, kind of like what you said, yours said, and she'll just say, can you just shut up talking about it and just do it already? It's good to have family and friends who are supportive, and it sounds like your wife definitely is.
Amen, yes.
So let's talk about now some of the challenges along the way. We'll talk about your transition to full-time creator here in a bit, but I know personally I have many challenges every day throughout my content creation career. Talk about yours for a minute and kind of how you overcame those.
Yeah, so there were so many challenges in the beginning, but a couple that kind of stuck out to me was when you are a new content creator or a YouTuber, you're going to get a lot of emails from companies, and they're going to say, hey, can you do a video for me? And here's a product for free. And I mean, you'll start getting that maybe if you have to have 50 subscribers or 100 subscribers. So I would suggest to anyone listening is to just know your worth. Again, that comes with experience, but you don't want to do things you feel uncomfortable with and that you're doing for free if you feel that you're more worthy than that. And it's really important. I suggest everyone to have a media kit, which is essentially like a resume. And this shows the company how many subscribers you have, how many views, if you have any affiliate data. It kind of shows them you're worthy and why they should pay you to do a video. And that was something that I kind of struggled with in the beginning because I didn't really know how to do that. No one told me how to do that, so I was just kind of doing everything for free, which was an issue. And again, to kind of push back onto that part is how to negotiate with the companies, and that is another thing I didn't do is have a contract, and not only have a contract, but you want to make sure that you consider getting either a deposit or partial payment or full payment before you agree to do the video. Because I had experiences where I would make a great video for the company and I would say, hey, we signed a contract, I'll get payment within a week or so. But the thing is, they never paid me. And there was a particularly well-known company that kind of did this to me. And so they were ghosting me. I was emailing them every day saying, hey, I made the video for you guys. I'm still waiting on payment. And it took them 3 months to pay me. Eventually they did pay me, thank goodness. But it's just something that you don't want to have to worry about. Like you want the company to invest in you as well as you're investing in the company. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, knowing your worth is important as a creator, even as a small creator, which is kind of what we're going to talk about now, and then we'll transition into some more kind of technical stuff around the channel. You have almost 16,000 subscribers. You got a great community here. You talked about diversifying your income. I'm big on that topic. So I want to talk with you. How can small creators, and I hesitate to say small creator because people are going to hear this and they're going to say, well, he's got almost 16,000 subscribers and he averages anywhere from, 10, 15, 20,000 views per video. They may not consider that a small creator. But again, in the scheme of things, just for the purposes of this, let's just say folks do consider that a small creator. Small to medium-sized creators going full-time, it's something that I see on a day-to-day basis. It's very possible. Speak on that and how that is feasible.
Yeah, so I just want to give all hope to all those small content creators out there because I started at 0 subscribers. Even my friends didn't really want to subscribe to my channel because they're like, oh, I don't even have a Tesla, so why would I subscribe? Or they didn't find interest in it. So I started at 0. I worked my way up, but something really cool happened to me. I was doing a review for a product at the time, and I just wanted to do a review to help people out there to get the product and what to do with the product. And I had definitely less than 1,000 subscribers at the time. And the company reached out to me and they said, hey, I really liked your video. We're trying to do a new social media thing. So we would love to use your video for our company, and we would love it if you made another video for us, and we'll pay you $1,000. And that was crazy because I was able to get a brand deal before it even was monetized. And I was definitely a small YouTuber at the time. So I just tell everyone out there, just be hopeful and just keep grinding and working hard on that aspect, because eventually your hard work will pay off.
And just a follow-up to this, Chris, when you're communicating with brands, not just then, but now as well, the size that you're at now, what are some kind of rules of thumb or some kind of things that you follow to make sure you do it professionally, you do it legally? Talk about the process of working with brands and affiliates and things such as that.
Yeah, so that one is going to be, it's tricky because, right, you're talking to somebody, so you're going to have to negotiate with the company. So there's always going to be that uneasiness to it. But again, that's when I say to know your worth, have a media kit or a resume readily available. When you do, it kind of goes both ways. When you email a company, don't be afraid of rejection. I've emailed many companies that I liked the product and I wanted to do a review for, but they would just either not even respond or say, hey, unfortunately, you're too small of a channel, so we're going to go ahead and not go with you, which is totally fine. But there were companies that did agree to give me a product in exchange for a video, and that was awesome. So that's always a good idea. As far as when you are responding to all those emails from companies, is to just be careful, because there are a lot of small companies out there, but there are a lot of fraudsters out there as well. And I do have a video on this, but I was responding to a company on my email, and something happened where I clicked the link through that email, and pretty much, long story short, we got our identity stolen. They took everything. They stole our social security numbers and all that stuff. So I really recommend anyone to make sure that you stay secure, have a VPN, which kind of protects your IP address. Don't click on any links in a company email, and make sure that when you do, like if you want to look up the product, you go ahead and look it up on Google. And before you even consider doing a review on a product, you want to make sure that you check their website, make sure your values align with the company's values, as well as see what this product is, if there's any other reviews, if it's a good product to review. And that's definitely something you should do when you are talking with companies.
Man, I have nothing else to add. That's all great stuff that I've talked about and preached about here on this podcast and other outlets as well. So that's wonderful. Let's talk about looking back for a second for you, Chris. I love this question, one of my favorite that I get to ask each and every week. What is something that you wish you knew sooner? Now looking back, looking at your journey thus far, what are some things or thing that you've seen that you're like, man, if I just would have known that sooner, I could have grown or I could have done this better?
Yeah. So that's like a two-part question, and I kind of talked about that, about the companies and how you should know your worth for sure. Again, I would have to say something that's very important, and I'm still dealing with this today, is not getting enough B-roll. And it's kind of funny because I actually am trying to do a video right now on a Rivian, I don't know if you know, it's the Rivian electric pickup truck.
I do not.
Yeah, so it's a new thing. It's based in Irvine, but it's called Rivian. They're doing like Amazon electric trucks, but they have their own pickup truck available. And I was able to rent one out, and I wanted to do like a ton of videos on it. So I thought I got enough B-roll. However, my problem is that when I looked back at the footage, it was grainy. I didn't have, the lighting wasn't good. It was out of focus. But if I took more B-roll and I was more prepared, I feel like I could have had a lot more content and a lot more stuff to work with. And that was like an issue that I'm still dealing with today. Don't be afraid. Make sure you record a ton, because a lot of people, they see an 8-minute video and they're like, oh, Chris, how hard can it be to make an 8-minute video? But they don't realize how many hours and hours of B-roll footage you need to try to paint a picture for the viewer as best as possible in different angles and different shots. That really helps your views, and it really helps them to subscribe to your channel, which is essentially the main goal.
Yeah, I could not agree more. And it's just knowing, again, we talked about knowing your worth, but it's also about knowing what your viewer wants and balancing that with what you want to create. You know, early on, I was trying to tailor things more to what, you know, I thought this specific person wanted, and that's a good mantra and mindset to have, but I wasn't having fun at times, and I wasn't enjoying the tutorials that I was making. And over time, I've learned what I love to do. I've got a process now. Knowing what works for you and what's going on in your life and what you can create is extremely critical. We talked about companies. We talked about brand deals, affiliates, things like that. Let's talk about monetization on your channel as a whole. First, question A on this topic is, can you just lay out the different forms of income you have right now? You talked about diversifying from the channel. Talk about the different ones that you have and list those out for us here.
Of course, of course. I love being super transparent with anyone who wants to know about YouTube, because I'm not trying to hide how much money I make. I'm all for this new era that we're in of like content creators. So for me personally, I have 3 different categories, which is about 1/3 of my income right now. The first one, of course, the most obvious, is the YouTube AdSense. So with that one, I have around 15,000 subscribers right now. However, around 10,000 subscribers, I was making around $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Now, again, this can go up or down depending on your view count and stuff, but it doesn't go from like $2,000 one month to like $10 the next month. So on average, currently right now, I'm doing around $2,000 to $3,000 a month on AdSense alone. The next one is affiliate marketing.
I want to pause there for a minute. I think it's a good time to talk about this. You talk about, 2 to 3K on AdSense alone. Your channel is right now sitting just under 16,000 subscribers. So you don't have to have an astronomical amount of subscribers. It's all about the view count. It's all about the view count, and in combination with the type of content you create. A financial YouTuber talking about banking and finances will triple what I make in the tutorial and how-to space, but I will triple what someone makes in, say, the animation or art market at times. And so, Chris, I just wanted to say that, and maybe you might want to follow that up as well.
Yes. So that's why at the end of the day, yes, we want to make money, right? But don't make that your primary goal. You want to make sure you do something that you enjoy and that you love, because the viewers are going to see that. Now, it's hard to say because I make a pretty decent money on YouTube AdSense compared to other niches out there. But just stay positive. Honestly, don't try to do it for the money, because I don't know if you guys know, there's a YouTuber out there right now. I forgot his name, but pretty much he lost his dad when he was younger. So he decided to make YouTube videos for anyone in a similar situation who don't have a role model, who have lost their father. And he would just do videos on how to tie a tie or how to fix a toilet. And he's blowing up, and he's doing so well right now because he stuck to his roots and he stuck to what he believed in and what he loved. So yeah, I really recommend anyone out there to just do what you love. And for me, it's like Tesla stuff, Tesla educator, as well as my tech stuff. So just do what you enjoy.
Yeah, it really is about doing what you enjoy, and the passion will come through. And then if you're doing it, people hear these comments, and that's why I often get people calling me saying, why am I not succeeding? Or I get on coaching calls and they're like, why is my YouTube channel not growing or whatever? And they say, I've listened to you and other YouTube educators talk about just keep doing it, keep grinding. And then I go to their channels or their content and they haven't uploaded in like 3 weeks. And so it's just like, sure, you can tell me all these great things and these fluffy things, but like you said at the beginning of this answer, Chris, it is about being transparent. It is about being transparent. And I love that you are, Chris, and I love that most of the folks I have on here on the podcast are very transparent. So talk about now, just really quickly, what other forms of income do you have other than AdSense?
Yeah. So aside from AdSense, the next one is the affiliate marketing, right? And then anyone can apply to Amazon affiliates. It's the super easy to do. Just know that they can reject you easily. I've applied at least 10 times to Amazon affiliates when I was a small YouTuber. I'm not really sure what their process is, but one day they just accepted me. So if you get rejected from Amazon affiliates, you can easily reapply. But yeah, so don't worry about that. Just keep applying. That's one source of revenue. A big source is Amazon affiliates. Second is any other companies. Like I work with a lot of like Tesla accessory companies. Someone watches my Tesla accessories video and they're like, "Ooh, I kind of like that stuff." And then they go ahead and purchase it with like a discount code that I have, and I get a certain amount of money from there. So I make money from affiliate marketing as well. Yeah. And then lastly is sponsorships, brand deals, and like video features. And again, like I said before, this is very challenging because you have to negotiate with these companies. But I just don't get ripped off, but you also don't want to seem cocky. So you always want to just kind of Again, like I said before, have that media kit and kind of understand and know. There's no right answer, but just kind of know, okay, so this is kind of like how much I should be charging. Let's see if this works for this company. Don't say no straight out if they if they lowball you, which happens a lot of the times, but just kind of work with them, because you want to form a good relationship with these companies. You never want to say one video and done, and I'm never going to work with you again because you're like a cheapskate. So yeah, so you always want to make sure you're reviewing the correct product, make sure you're doing it that you like, because if you're just doing it for the cash and you don't even like the product, the audience is going to know that because they know if you're lying or not. So you always want to be careful with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my 3 sources. Yeah.
I love that. And if you're like me, you're not just going to stop there, right? Like you're still looking for other ways to branch out and make more money. That's just the beginning of that. And I'm so glad when I started my YouTube channel, I'm so glad that I got into doing voiceover work, and then that led into me doing gig work and then getting clientele and then doing some video editing and podcasting. And there's so many things that I got into, that spurred from the YouTube channel, my website, my email list, so many things. I do want to ask you on a more specific note, Chris. I don't know how long you've been a part of the Amazon affiliate program. It was something over 10 years ago I was a part of and still am today and still get a little bit of kind of kickback from Amazon. I found that program is not as lucrative as it once was. Is this something that you found, or is your space still kind of doing really well?
Yeah, it's actually doing pretty well. So on average with Amazon affiliates, I make around 2,000 to 3,000 just on Amazon affiliates. So it depends. I would say it depends on the product that you're promoting, right? Because it's funny how Amazon affiliates work. It's if you click, let's say I'm talking about a smart robot vacuum, and I click on the Amazon affiliates, but that's too expensive, I don't want it. But let me go ahead and buy some laundry detergent for myself. I'm gonna go ahead and click on laundry detergent. So I will still make some money from that because I brought the viewer to Amazon. So it's not just based on that immediate direct link. It's based on other things as well. So that's why it's not just my like Tesla stuff or whatever that's Amazon affiliates is the money is coming from. It's from other things that people are purchasing that brought them to Amazon in the first place.
And that is something to take note of here. 2 points. Number one, a great point about when they go to Amazon. I believe it used to be so good. It used to be like 72 hours.
Yeah.
But now I believe they've taken it down to 24 hours. So when someone goes to Amazon and they think about how many times you've clicked an Amazon link from somewhere, on Twitter or somewhere, and you've, bounced off of it, but then like the next day or the next morning, you're like, oh, I do need that. And you order it, that person gets a kickback. Used to be a crazy amount of time. They've kind of reduced that, but that is very important and critical. And also, I guess the thing to note here is if you're promoting things, and I assume you would be, Chris, like things that are more expensive, you're obviously going to get a more lucrative result from that. So that's something to take note of as well. Let's talk about you, the person. Chris, what have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about kind of what you do really well and some things that you don't do as well?
So for me personally, I never had a good work ethic when I was younger. And I don't know what really changed, but now my wife and I were like grandma and grandpas. We sleep by 6:30, 7 p.m. I wake up 3 a.m. I make breakfast, feed the dogs, go to the gym. I think like doing something physical is super important because it really helps bring that energy level up. And after the gym, it's kind of like I have to figure out, okay, so now YouTube is my main job. How am I going to approach this as if I'm actually working? And that's another thing. You want to have a strict schedule. You want to pretend that you're actually working for a company and that you want to kind of focus your time there. Like for me, I'm not very productive at home. I got my dogs, I got TV, I got my computer, and I can just play games all day. So I like to go to a coffee shop. And at the coffee shop, that's where I work on my scripts. And when I do my scripts, I kind of have to figure out, okay, so how many scripts am I going to do? So I always stay at the coffee shop 3, 4, 5 hours maybe, and just kind of grind out my scripts one day. And then the next day, it's like, okay, so got the scripting done. Now I got to do the talking and my B-roll stuff. So then that's when I go ahead and target that. I mean, I use Notion and like Google Docs for that. I'm sure you guys know about Notion. Everything's free, but I just like the user interface for everything. And once I get my B-roll shots done and my talking done, then I'm editing for a few days, and then I'm publishing the video. So that's kind of like what I've been doing for a year now. again, like I said before, when you're working full time and you're trying to do the YouTube thing, you can't do that because you're still working for the company. So you kind of have to work your way around it, right? So for me, whenever a patient canceled or if I had a break, I was busy on my laptop, just like doing scripting and then figuring out my B-roll shots. And then when I got home, that's when I would go ahead and do my B-roll shots. So it's not easy, but the question you have to ask yourself is it worth it? And I just want to kind of focus on this point real quick, Dusty, is that a lot of people, they work a W-2 job, right? Which is great. You get a paycheck, that's your money to have. That's after everything's taken out, and it's great. However, when you work as an independent contractor, which is a 1099, which is a YouTuber or content creator, you have, number one, you have more freedom. Number two, instead of investing in the company and then they take like a certain percentage of your pay, you can just invest in yourself, and you're like not limited by the company. You're just, the sky's the limit with that stuff. So that's why I really recommend anyone doing it to just make sure that they kind of have, I'm sure like I'm straying away from the original question.
No, you're not. I love this.
Oh yeah, but it's just something I always tell people who are interested in YouTube. Like, don't be afraid to do it, but again, always have a backup plan. I'm sure Dusty has talked about this numerous times before. Don't just quit your W-2 job, but think of all the stuff that you're changing once you do become a 1099. Like, you have to pay for healthcare, which is very expensive. You have to worry about taxes. You're going to be taxed a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. And also like your retirement plan, you don't get like a 401k from a company, so you have to kind of invest everything yourself. So yeah, have a roadmap, have a plan, and that's really important. I just always tell people that. So
I could not agree more with what you just said. There's so many things that go into it, and you talk about a W-2 job going to a 1099. If I told folks how much I paid in taxes the last 2 years, it's not indicative of how much money I'm making. It's not that I'm getting rich. It's just you don't understand it. When, like, my wife's a teacher, right? Mm-hmm. So she gets taxes taken out of her check every month. So when we go do our taxes, I just give the tax guy the W-2, and then we're done. But then we move on to my stuff, and it's like hours of just grinding, of giving him spreadsheets and expenses and keeping that. That's the thing. Couple of tips here. Keep up with your expenses as a creator. Tip number one. Tip number two, make sure that you're holding back. And Chris, you may have a different number on this. I overdo this because I'm so afraid of the IRS. I keep back 25 to 30%. Yeah, same. Of what I make, and I put that in a separate account, knowing that, hey, this is going to go to the man, right? It's unfortunate, but there are ways around it. They're not like avoiding taxes, but there's things you can do to decrease the amount that you pay, right? And so all the people who make money, it's all about how much you keep, not how much you make. I'm sure everyone's heard that before. And then lastly, a Roth IRA, and getting into things like that can help you save for retirement that you don't normally have, like you're not having a 401k or whatever it may be. So I love that. Any tips on that as far as like saving for retirement as a entrepreneur, as a creator? Yeah. So one thing I use, and it's super boring, but I use QuickBooks, and nobody really talks about that, but it's like an online bookkeeping software, and I highly recommend everyone use QuickBooks once you do start making that money, because like Dusty said, it just keeps everything more organized, and that's super important in case you get audited. And if you have a CPA or something, they could easily link up your QuickBooks info with theirs, so they could kind of see a breakdown of everything. Love that. Yeah, I've used QuickBooks as well. A lot of my stuff's done on Google Spreadsheets. Oh, nice. And Notion, kind of linking those two things together. All right, Chris, you have been an amazing guest. I love your energy. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think you're so successful is your energy. You have great energy, great presence on camera. Can you let my audience know where to get in touch with you on the internet? Thank you. Yeah, so we just published a website out now, everydaychrisofficial.com, and that's a way to kind of see any Tesla tips or tutorials. You can, of course, always email me. You can find my email on my YouTube, as well as just write a comment in the video. I don't know if you've seen any of my videos, but I try to respond to all the comments. Yes. No matter what I do, because I always want the viewer to feel like they've been heard and feel appreciative, as well as it creates a connection with them. Another thing I will always recommend is always have a connection with the viewer in some form or some way.
I love that. You've got some fun content, and I highly recommend everyone go check you out. You got some good stuff going on Instagram, over on your TikTok, Twitter. All of your socials are just wonderful. So good work on that, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, thank you for listening to that amazing conversation this week. I do want to go ahead and say, since this is our first question of the week, we're going to start with a softball question. Something very simple, very easy to get the juices flowing, get the answers filing in. I want to know, as a creator, what is your biggest struggle? So what is your biggest struggle right now, in this moment, as you're listening to this on YouTube? Okay? If you're listening to this at a later date, maybe months from now, a year from now, it doesn't matter, let me know. Find me on Twitter. This is how we're going to do the questions of the week. And I will go ahead and give a bunch of people's responses on next week's podcast. That's going to be a very fun segment that I cannot wait to add to the podcast, okay? So again, Dusty Porter YT on YouTube, and the question this week is, what is your biggest struggle currently as a creator? Thanks, guys.
You've been listening to the YouTube Creators Podcast. We want to thank you and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as support us on Patreon for great perks, such as having your YouTube channel featured on the show and a link on our website. Until next time, keep uploading those videos.